I want to tell you about a little incident in Chicago in the year 1892. It happened in the office of Chicago's legendary architect Daniel Burnham. Burnham was evaluating grand ideas for a worldwide event he was responsible for that was to take place the next year, the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Yes, world fairs were a thing in those days. Think a 4 month summer extravaganza with 3 million or more people attending. The previous World's Fair in 1889, they happen every 4 years, took place at Paris, where the grand event was the completion and unveiling of the Eiffel Tower. Daniel Burnham wants a structure built for the Chicago Fair that will match that grandeur. On this particular day in August 1892, with Daniel Burnham in that Chicago office room was a young engineer from Pittsburgh that nobody had heard of until then by the name George Ferris. Listen, George, this thing you want to build for the World's Fair, it's too flimsy, it'll collapse. Burnham had just rejected George's idea for the last time. George has been pitching to him his idea to build this giant circular structure that will carry 2,000 people at a time up and down in a circular motion. Sort of like a giant wheel, as he called it then. Over the last few months, Burnham and his board of directors for the World's Fair have rejected George's idea many times as not safe because, well, nothing like it has ever existed before. Nothing like it has been built before, and the idea of a wheel that would carry people just sounded dangerous to them. This was George's last shot, and he had come prepared with all his design calculations and all that, but he has just been rejected again. As George was about to exit Burnham's office after this final rejection, legend has it that he turned around and he said, "Sir, you are an architect. I am an engineer. I believe no man should prejudge another man's idea unless he knows what he is talking about." What he meant was, I've got the calculations right here, and my calculations say this first of its kind giant wheel is safe. You can't say it will collapse unless you can find fault with my calculations. Now, Burnham was a man of great renown, a giant personality in the world of architecture himself, and to his credit, he was not offended by what Ferris said, but actually impressed. He took a deep breath. Okay, fine, go ahead, build it. The giant 265-foot wheel George Ferris and his engineering team built for the Chicago World's Fair towered over the city and became its star attraction. True to its design intent, it carried 2,000 people in one go. That would be 36 carriages of 60 people in each carriage. It went round and round throughout the entire period of the fair without a single hitch. Over 2 million people rode the giant wheel during the fair. Indeed, that giant wheel structure single-handedly rescued the financial burdens of the World Fair and came to be heralded as the American answer to the Eiffel Tower. George Ferris's engineering marvel endures to this day under his namesake, the Ferris wheel that we all are familiar with in amusement parks and fairs around the world. But what calculations was George Ferris talking about when he challenged the legendary architect Daniel Burnham? Why are calculations even needed? See, until that point, there has never been a Ferris wheel, and so we can't go by empirical data or experience to tell what will work and what will collapse. Engineering calculations is the only alternative because engineering calculations are like no other. If George had predicted that the Ferris wheel will be popular and Burnham had predicted that it won't be, there are no definitive calculations to tell us one way or the other. They can both argue forever and still never come to an answer. But engineering calculations about whether a structure will stand or not, that is orders of magnitude more precise, more reliable, and offers that much less room for debate, though admittedly nothing's infallible, of course. See, for a given structure, if we know some of the forces acting on the structure, we have worked out the math and the methods to estimate the forces that will be needed everywhere else in that structure, such that the structure can be held in place. Knowing all those forces within a structure is the first and indispensable step for designing that structure itself. Now, I use the word structure in a broad sense. It doesn't have to be just a Ferris wheel, mind you, or even large ones like a bridge, a building, or a dam. Structures could be smaller constructs like an airplane or an automobile, or even smaller ones like an iPhone, a wrench, or a heart valve prosthesis. Or, and I'm not kidding here, a cell in the human body. Those forces and constraints that hold structures together and keep them standing is precisely what we will discuss in our engineering fundamentals course, statics.
Hi, I'm Suresh Raghavan. I'm a professor of biomedical engineering and your instructor for statics. Our class is a combination of math and physics. We'll be doing a lot of drawing, writing, calculating, things of that sort. By the end of this course, you will have an understanding of how forces interact in order to hold structures together. Will you be ready to design a Ferris wheel? Probably not, because that requires additional understanding of topics like dynamics and material sciences that are beyond the scope of this class. But you will gain an understanding of the fundamentals that are essential for the design process. I'll be delivering my lectures through live online sessions that I expect that you will join live. In those occasions that you are unable to join, I will also be posting recordings of these live sessions so you can watch and catch up. In addition, I'll be posting other instructional videos that will supplement your learning experience. Your excellent teaching assistant and I will also be holding online office hours that you can join us to clarify questions and things of that sort. I promise you engaging lectures, challenging assignments, reasonable exams, and an effective learning experience. Welcome to Statics. Oh, and may the force be with you.
Really, Dad?